Welcome, folks, to another edition of Roll With It. I'm your host, Such Chan. Thank you for joining us. This is our first show of 2019, so I hope you had a great 2018 and enjoyed that year. Looking forward to much more action and much more creativity and many more podcasts here in 2019 with Roll With It. RHL action already underway in this year. We had games this past Monday night. We're going to go back and recap those games and look at the standings. And I also have an interview with one of the players in our league, Nick Barry from the Hurricanes, who has become a strong player in our league, one of our top players in our league here, has developed his game nicely. He also plays in our ball hockey league in MDHL with the Barbarians. That'll be a little bit later on in the show. Let's get started with action and see where we are. The first week of 2019 games were played, and we had 4 games on tap. The first game of the night on Monday night was a D2 game between the top 2 teams from last year, and probably again from this year as well too. Little Big Men going against the Hurricanes. A game where Little Big Men actually dominated most of the game, had 3-goal, 4-goal lead. But it turned out it was a classic game, a classic comeback, one of the best comebacks we've ever had in DCHL leagues, and probably the best comeback we've ever had in RHL, as the Hurricanes, who were down by 3 to 4 goals at the most point, scored the last 4 goals of the game in the last 2.5, 3 minutes to come back and stun Little Big Man on a late goal by Matt Krause. So it was a great game to officiate. I officiated the game, actually, and give credit to Little Big Man. They played well. But at the same time, Hurricanes just never gave up. They just kept getting that goal that they needed to keep the game close. And then with time running out, they were able to get the last 4 goals of the game with about 3.5 minutes to go here. Shout-outs to Nick Barry, who had a hat-trick and at least a couple of assists. Paul Dawkins had a couple of goals. Jordan Greenberg had a couple of goals. Matt Krause had a couple of goals as well, too. So a good effort there. Tim Longo played well. Tim Longo did not play bad in goal for the Hurricanes. It's a question of Little Big Men having a lot of scoring power, and they were able to put it through in the nets. Little Big Men got some good games from Jeff Babb, who at least had a hat-trick. Sophie Jablonski scored again. David Boyer and John Lee in the mix as well, too. So great game. Someone had to lose, unfortunately, but it was a great game to officiate, and great comeback by the Hurricanes as they go to 3-0, and they beat that Little Big Man 9-8 in the opener game on Monday night. Second game of the night was also a D2 game, Blades of Steel versus the Wheelers. Wheelers obviously had to get back and win their first cup. They fell short just a bit last season in the finals, going against a revamped Blades of Steel roster with 3 or 4 new players. And I definitely saw an improvement on Blades of Steel. The new players from Game 1 to Game 2 playing with more confidence, had more chemistry, know where they were going, better skating as well too. And Blades of Steel, with the new goalie in place as well too, also won this game. Final score was 7-5. In terms of scoring, Ashley Gresham with her first goal ever in the RHL. So congratulations, Ashley, on that records. Great games all around, and I think both goals actually played very well. I'm sure Fez is not very happy that they lost, but I don't think he played that badly. He had a couple of goals that he may have wanted back, but he also had some terrific saves as well too. So a game that was actually a good win for Blades of Steel because they have some new faces. So to be able to gel that quickly in Game 2 and win a game against a top team with the Wheelers must bring confidence to that team as well too. Goals, as we have it here, Dan Bagley goal and 2 assists. 2 goals and assists for David Zucker, a very underrated player, probably a D1 player playing in D2. Jackson Savoy had a goal and an assist. Andrew Willenberg, a goal and 2 assists. And Ashley Gresham, actually a goal and an assist. And Scott Vanek, the rookie, also had his first goal as well too. So good to see new players get the score sheet as well too. On the Wheeler side, 2 goals, 2 assists for Daniel Bortnick. Goal each from Lou, the new captain, Al, and Robert Kim. 2 assists for Peter Garf. A game that was pretty fun to watch again. A pretty competitive game. Came the last minute or so. Empty net goal at the end was the final difference, making 2-goal affair. Final score was 7-5 in favor of Blades of Steel. Then we had 2 D1 games to end the night. The first game that we had on tap was the High Rollers against That's What She Said, 2 top teams, rematch of the finals from last season. And the High Rollers were missing some players, and I believe actually That's What She Said only had four skaters, if I recall correctly. So they had no subs, but it did not matter. This was a game where That's what you said, but just on their game, and they actually blew out High Rollers. To be honest, here 13-5 was the final score. Now High Rollers were missing their top goalie, Stephen Dorsey. He couldn't make it this past Monday night. So Dennis Jimenez sub for them. We love Dennis, but obviously Stephen Dorsey is a top superstar goalie in RHL, so that was definitely something that other Harrows missed on Monday night. And that's what you said. Their top players can score goals. They may be the best chemistry team. They skate well. They have depth, and they didn't have this past Monday night, but they actually have good chemistry and good scoring touches as well too. And they were able to actually bowl out the High Rollers 13-5. Goal scorers, give them some shout out here as well too. That's what you said. 5 goals for Toby Muirs. 5 goals for Toby. So Toby had a great game. No assists there. Evan Winstead with 2 goals, 5 assists. Chuck Warner, a very underrated player, 3 goals, 4 assists. And of course, Jung Lee, 3 goals, 5 assists as well. And Fez, playing for his D1 team, had an assist as well too. So Fez made sure he got the assist. He came to me and said, hey, I made that pass on that goal. I should have secondary assists. And he did have secondary assists. So Fez also the goalie getting on the score sheet as well too. High Rollers, Matt Morgan assist. Josh with a goal, Dan Knight with 2 goals, 2 assists, Rob Banks with 1 goal, 2 assists, and new player Joe Panto also had a goal as well too. Again, situation where the High Rollers were missing their top goalie, and that's what you said, because currently Rays are red hot right now. They are just playing extremely well, and they will win that game pretty easily. Last game of the night that we had on tap was the Rough Riders going against the expansion team, Eminence Front. And again, key players missing games. Eminence Front their top scorer was missing, and their goalie was missing. They had also a sub goalie as well too. But at the end of the day, the High Rollers had their best game of the season, and they were able to easily dispatch Eminence Front. The official score was 13-3. This is the High Rollers team. This is the Rough Riders team. I apologize. Where if everybody shows up like they did, they can beat anybody. And I want to see this team that showed up on Monday night go against. That's what you said, and High Rollers, because this is the team that Dan has on his roster that can compete against these guys, and it'd be fun to watch them go against the top teams with this particular roster and the attendance they had on Monday night. So, great game by the Rough Riders. Actually, you know what? Eminence Front played well. Just a question of just too much offense, too much talent on Rough Riders that showed up that night. For Eminence Front, Jeff Babb, captain, 2 goals. Good job, Jeff there. A goal for Gavin Scott as well, too, in that regards. Rough Riders, plenty of scores across the board here. Dan Ridings, 3 goals, 1 assist. Jeff with 4 goals. Into Jeff Menny with 4 goals, 2 assists. Nick Weeks back with 3 goals and 5 assists. And Mike Cahill had a goal. David Goodford had a goal. And Nolan Walker also with 1 goal, 2 assists. So they had their offensive mojo flowing very nicely as the Rough Riders beat Eminence Front for their first official victory of the season. And there you go. This recap from the 4 games we had this past Monday. Let's take a quick look at the standings as well, too, what we have over here. In D2, currently in first place, the Hurricanes, who beat the Little Big Men, are in first place. They're 3-0. Stanley Capitals had a bye. They're 1-1. And so Blades of Steel also had an early bye. They're 1-1. Then we have the Little Big Men at 1-2. And the Wheelers currently have not a win. But we've seen this move before with the Wheelers. They're a good team, and they'll get their wins. They'll make a playoff run as well too. In D1, in first place, that's what you said. Currently undefeated, 3-0, doing very, very well. The High Rollers currently at 2-1, and the Rough Riders at 1-2. And Eminence Front getting better, but currently in the bottom at 0-3. There you go for the standings for the RHL D1 and D2. When we come back, we'll have Nick Berry in the studio or via Skype discuss the Hurricanes, his Hurricanes, also the Barbarians as well, to talk about a little about roller hockey, about his experience as well too, and see what it leads us to. So don't go away. Come back with Nick Berry here momentarily on Roll With It. Hey, folks, welcome back to Roll With It. I'm here with a very special guest for this particular episode, Nick Berry from the Hurricanes, also plays in the NDHL with the Barbarians. Nick Berry, thank you for joining us in this podcast.
Of course, man. Thanks for having me. Been awesome. Excited to come on for a while ever since you started doing the doing the interview. So I'm glad to be here.
Oh, awesome, awesome. Good to have you, Nick. You start off actually with our ball hockey league. Let's start with your experience with us. You started off in the MDHL with the Barbarians. Is that correct? Not with the Barbarians, but
Yes.
you started with the MDHL in general. You were
Yeah.
part of the P1 Barbarians. Talk about how you found our league and how you got involved with DCHL leagues.
Yeah. So the first time I ever, heard about you guys, I actually used to play roller hockey out in Germantown in the outdoor rink.
Oh yeah, the one
And
at Ridge Road, right?
yeah, Ridge Road. And I remember one time we used to play Wednesdays and Sundays. And I remember there was a Sunday that we had a, pickup game planned, and we went out there and we saw all these guys playing ball hockey, and we're like, what the heck? Well, I
Mm-hmm.
thought we were gonna, and it looked really organized, so we couldn't really do anything about it. So I kind of, watched a little bit. I'm like, wow, this is pretty cool. And I talked to one of the guys there, and he said, yeah, they're based out of Rockville, and we do this every so often. I forgot when you guys were doing it then. This was probably like 3
3 or 4
years
years
ago.
ago.
It was a while
Yeah.
ago. And so I graduated from Towson in 2016 over summer.
Uh-huh.
And, I got an office job, and I was just kind of, bored after work. And I kind of just looked into hockey leagues in the area. And I remembered that there was a ball hockey league. So looked up you guys, found the website, and reached out to you. And then I think that was on I want to say that was on a Monday. And I think on Wednesday I had a D2 team and I was playing. So that's how it started.
What was your first D2 team in DHL?
The Ugly Pucklings.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes, so that's great. Yeah, and then you joined the Barbarians and promoted up to the D1 and Barbarians as well too. Tell
exactly.
me now, are you a ball hockey player? Are you're a roller player first, obviously? Tell me how you adjusted from playing roller to ball hockey when you first got started in our league.
Yeah, for sure. So, I mean, I always, I always thought I was, I had a pretty good shot and stuff in terms of roller hockey when it comes to a puck, and I had pretty good, hockey knowledge when it comes to, skating and like the roller hockey game.
Mm-hmm.
And I figured, I played lacrosse in high school, so I'm like, I think ball hockey, it'll probably be pretty easy. I was always good at ball hockey in gym class, scored 10 goals every day in class or whatever. So I'm like, yeah, how hard can that be? And then, I got out there and I realized that I hadn't really done any sort of like heavy endurance kind of sporting like
Mm-hmm.
in a long time. It's like way more similar to, basketball or something like that than skating. So I don't think my body was kind of a shock for my body. My hands and my brain could keep up in terms of, scoring and stuff, but like my legs really couldn't. So it was definitely an adjustment period. But I think they're two completely different games, but they're both, fun in their own way.
Especially number one, the biggest difference you had was cardio, getting
Yeah.
cardio shape to
Yeah, for sure.
And besides the cardio, what other parts of the game are different for you to adjust to?
In ball hockey, you have way less space. Like, it's 5-on-5, so you just have way less space, way less time.
Work with as well too. Yeah.
Exactly, and the ball is all over the place, and I feel like I have a way better read on where the puck is going to go compared to where a ball is going to go. And the other thing is scoring, like shooting. Like my shot in ball hockey is not very good in my opinion. And I think my shot in inline is pretty good, and I'm pretty confident I can score on any shot I take in inline for the most part. In ball hockey, it's like I'm always looking to pass normally because I haven't mastered it. I mean, there are guys and girls in the league who can shoot really, really well in ball, and I need to start practicing a little more, I guess.
Yeah, you're actually a pretty good player. You're playing now for a D1 team, MDHL, a top team with the Barbarians. You're playing with the likes of Josh Lerner. At one point, Sean Miller, other players, Jason Maxon, obviously there as well too, and Brian Keefe. So you got a pretty good core there.
Yeah.
Let's talk about your roller team and your roller play. I remember when you first started playing roller, and the one thing that comes to my mind when you say Nick Berry, roller player, is your game has improved tremendously over the last year or so.
Appreciate that, yeah.
You become a great skater, a great puck handler, and also a great scorer. So tell me how that's transformed. I mean, when you first started playing, you were okay, but now you become really a top player. How has that transformation come? Is it just confidence, just playing more? How did that come about?
I think, yeah, confidence for sure. And, I've been playing roller hockey on and off since I was, pretty young. I never really played I actually played competitive when I was like 10, 11, 12. I was actually a goalie back then. So, I mean, the skating for one, like I said, I used to play in Germantown, and that was just pickup.
Right.
Way different court though. It was like heavy cement.
That's concrete.
Concrete, yeah, concrete.
Right.
So getting used to skating on the softer, sportier court that you guys have was definitely big. But I think just playing once a week, every day, just kind of, and learning to skate, learning like what certain players, are good with what goalies are good and worse certain places. And I honestly just getting better and just getting used to the pace and then the court and just the league pretty much.
Awesome. Now let's talk about the team you're on. I think you with the Hurricanes most of your tenure. Am I correct?
Yes.
They're either A or B team, not only one team, but you're with them
Yeah.
for a while now.
Yeah, it's always been the Hurricanes. I think the first season I played, it was Hurricanes B, and it was like a completely different team than it is now. Right. We weren't very good. We were in D2. We weren't very good, but it's just changed, and I stuck with the Hurricanes, and I played with them D1 one season when we were all up, and still had some pretty good success there, and now we're in D2. But yeah, so played with them the whole time.
Talk about that team in general. Talk about the team this season, actually.
Yeah.
You had you guys are 3-0 right now into a young winter season. But this past week's game was probably one of the better games you guys have played. Last game, you guys were down by, I believe, 3 or 4 goals multiple times. And at one point, you were down by 3 goals, and you came back and scored the last 4 goals of the game late in the second half to win the game. Talk about how that, and you were doing that without your top player, Dennis Owen, who was not there. And you and Matt Cross put on a show as well too. Talk about how that game transformed. Was that your coming out party? Hey, we can win this without Dennis Owen being there.
Yeah, I think the first 2 games we were kind of scoring at will, and our new goalie Tim, he was just kind of just in the zone, not letting anything in. It was just kind of, it's like our team could almost make no mistakes.
Right.
And then on Monday, little big men who are a great team. Yeah, they can score. They came out, and Tim still played well, but they just put goals behind us. And I think we were doing a little bit too much with the puck, like kind of skating it in, looking for the perfect pass, trying to pass it around too much. And then we were all saying on the bench, like let's just get shots from the first faceoff. Let's just get shots. And I think I scored from like center court at one point. And then once it got to the point where it was like late in the second half and we were down by 3 or 4 goals, we were just kind of like, all right, let's just shoot from anywhere. I mean, that's the only way we're going to win. And then the next shift, I think either me or Paul went out there and just put just like a really weak shot on and scored. And then we just won a couple faceoffs, just scored, boom, boom, boom. We're able to tie it up. And then Matt came on at the end and scored that crazy goal to cap it off. And then played some good there. That line played some really good D with the last 20 seconds to go too. And then we scavenged out a win.
Now, in that late sequence out there, you can see a goalie maybe maybe struggling there. You're seeing shots on goal. The key you said is what shots on goal on now, which is very, very important.
Exactly.
Combination of momentum. Hey, the goalie's struggling maybe right now. He's fighting it. The momentum's all our way. Just get shots on goal. Is that the key to come back?
Yeah, for sure. And I think definitely from a goalie standpoint, I'm sure his confidence wasn't there once those ones started to go in. So it was a mix of we got the momentum. Let's just keep shooting, and also we're running out of time. We're not going to be able to set these, everyone touches the puck up, tape to tape, backdoor kind of shots, and we're just going to have to shoot it. And that's what we did. We kind of out hustled them at the end. We were playing a little slow, I thought, in the middle, and then at the end we just decided to turn it up, and we're able to squeak out a win. The extra time though that you added to this season definitely helped us out. I don't know if we would have got that win without the extra time.
Good point. Now we went to, obviously we have 5 teams, but change our format a little bit out there. So to make that work, you guys have 8 22.5-minute games to equal out the time that the D1 has. So that extra 2.5 minutes extra per half definitely came into play this time around.
For sure.
Back as well too. Now let's talk about the Hurricanes and your roster in general. You guys won the D2 Cup last season. Your first cup in the D2 division. Now, you have new players over the roster the last couple of seasons. Players like Dan Greenberg, and Dan Barber, and now one of their friends, Matt Krause on the team as well too.
Matt Krause, yep.
Yes. So talk about the new players coming in and seeing them develop as well too, getting involved in the chemistry. It seems like you have a pretty deep roster, a pretty deep bench, guys like Paul scoring. And you have anybody who can score, and that gives you a lot more opportunities to have these comebacks.
Yeah, definitely. And it's the other big thing that people always talk about is everybody shows up every day. That's
very important.
It's like pretty much if somebody doesn't show up, it's kind of surprising. So we're never really tired. It's really cool to see how much better people have gotten. I think this is Jamie Sullivan. I think this is his
that's right.
third season with us, and he's just gotten so much better. It's cool to see that. Dan too. Dan was always really good. Barber, that is. He was always really good defender. And now he's like jumping up in the play all the time.
Yeah.
He finally figured out his shot. So I think the biggest thing for us is just up and down the lineup. With D2, you're not always going to have the entire roster that's like there are going to be a lot of new players on every team, and I think for our team, everybody knows how to play roller hockey, knows the league, and there's no one who's a liability out there. Everyone is pulling their weight and just scoring and then playing great D.
And also, I think this season, obviously, you had Fez last season as your goalie, and Fez obviously played with two teams. So based on competitive balance, he was on your team last season. Now this season, Fez is going to the Wheelers. You've got a goalie rotation. The early games going to Tim Longo. You play in our league, and the late games going to Dennis Jimenez, who'll be there later on the season. Talk about Tim Longo, the new goalie out there, and he's played very well for you.
Yeah, no, I mean, nobody really knew anything, about him. I think Dennis was like, oh, by the way, we're going to have a new goalie for the first half of the season. So we're just kind of like, okay. I mean, Fez was, we're all pretty good friends with Fez. He's a good guy to have on the team. But, I definitely understood why you switch it up for competitive balance. But, I mean, Tim came in, and I think he's one of the better goalies in all the leagues. I mean, he's just a good player. I mean, straight up. So it was definitely good having, an experienced goalie to come in. That's kind of just, the cherry on top with the returning team is like, not only is, Dan Krause an amazing new player, and Tim Longo is an amazing new player too. So I'm sure it's kind of hard for you too when it comes to new players, because there's no real way to know how good they are.
Right.
Exactly. So, I mean, having two people come in who obviously are very experienced in roller hockey and good players has helped us out a lot, especially with Dennis gone.
Now you guys are 3-0. You guys won the D2 Cup last season. You got 5 more games to go in the playoffs. And you haven't played everybody yet. You played little big men. You played some of the top teams. What are your thoughts on you guys repeating this season? You're the favorite this time around?
I think on paper, realistically, yeah. I mean, if we're winning these games without Dennis, I think it's going to be. I mean, I think we'd realistically be the favorite. But I mean, the thing is, even though we've been winning these games, none of these games are just crazy easy for us. No, it's. I mean. Even the one game against the team that just dropped down from D1, I forgot what's their name.
Blades of Steel.
Blades of Steel. Yeah, I think the game kind of got out of control at the end, and I think we scored probably 5 goals in the last 5 minutes. But it was a really competitive game. I think they had a short bench, so they got a little tired. So I think when it comes to the playoffs, I mean, anything can happen any game. I mean, we were down 9-5 this last game that could easily end it in their favor. So I think anything can happen when it comes to the playoffs, but I'm pretty confident in us. I think we're all a close team, and I think we know we can do it again.
Awesome. Now, tell me, let's talk about the RHL here. You played both in the RHL and DHL. Talk about a different atmosphere. Obviously, MDHL different atmosphere, RHL different atmosphere. Talk about a different atmosphere, and which one do you prefer? I mean, RHL is a little bit more laid back. People know each other more often than not. MDHL has a lot more energy involved. So tell me about the different atmosphere and which one do you prefer? What do you like between both leagues?
Yeah, I think both atmospheres are really great, but both obviously really different. I think MDHL, DCHL, it seems like there's a lot more buzz around the games. There's a lot more people from the earlier games stay. A lot more people just come to watch. And I think as players, everybody is really close. Everyone is pretty good friends with each other. On other teams, everyone's known each other for a while. So I think there's more of almost a sense of community with MDHL games every day. But with roller hockey, it's more. I feel like the teams know each other pretty well. A lot of the teams came in through different outlets, so it's more of just get in, and especially because they're later games, sort of just get in, play hard, and then sort of just leave more in a sense. But no, we've all gotten to know each other a little better since the league started too. But I think in terms of gameplay, I personally prefer RHL a little more, just because I'm an offensive guy. I started playing roller hockey, so I think that's definitely a little bit more fun for me. And then obviously my lungs and my legs don't like MDHL as much. So yeah. So
well, let's talk about obviously we're all hockey fans. I believe you are a Boston Bruins fan. Am I correct on that?
No, I'm a Caps fan.
You're a Caps fan.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. No worries.
So obviously Caps fan, and we talk about this every time.
Yeah.
We're in the middle of the hockey season right now in the in late early January or so. Your thoughts on the Capitals this season so far?
Yeah, I mean, I think they're really good. I think they came off to a slow start at the beginning of the season, and then they went on a tear recently. They've kind of tapered off a little bit, but they're right there at the top of the Metro as I thought they would be. I think that as long as they keep playing up to the players that they have on their roster and the way I know they can play, I think they'll definitely win. The Metro again. When it comes to repeating, that's such a hard thing to do. I would never, put money on them to do that kind of thing. But I have confidence that they'll be right there and that they have the players on the roster to do it. So
now the question I ask all the Cap fans within the show is, obviously the
mm,
big change, not roster wise, but coaching wise. Barry Trott's
right,
gone, Mitch Korn gone. As an Islander fan, I'm happy to have Barry Trotz on my team.
yeah.
This team around completely for the Islanders. Do you think in the playoffs we'll see how good your new coach is?
Yeah, for sure. I think that
the difference between Trotz and your new coach in the playoffs.
Yeah, I think that'll definitely be, pretty telling time. I mean, he's done well. I mean, this season, I mean, they're at the top of the Metro. I'm never really been good at judging coaches. The one thing I thought about Trotz is that, I thought that he didn't play some of the younger guys as much as he could have. I think Reardon has really, let a lot of the guys from Hershey, like Siegenthaler and Lewington and just a lot of the younger guys play, and let him ride it out. So I've liked that about him. I think sometimes he keeps the lines together a little bit too much. Like I think Oshie, Ovechkin, and Backstrom were together for
for a while,
2 weeks, and they weren't really doing much. And he finally switched it up back to the Stanley Cup lines. But no, I think the playoffs will definitely show a lot about him. But yeah, Trotz is a great coach, as you can see. He completely turned New York around, and they're right there for the Metro too. So it definitely hurts missing Trotz, but got to move on at some point.
Do you think they should have paid him, in your personal opinion?
Um,
I think Kevin the money, number one, but number two, I don't think Trotz felt like he was wanted here, so that was definitely negative on the cap.
Yeah,
but also money factor too.
Exactly. Like if they hadn't have won the cup, I would have said, "Oh, obviously, don't pay him. Move on with Todd Reardon," because they've been grooming Todd Reardon for a long time. They've wanted to move on with Todd, and it's hard when somebody wins a cup because you almost have to make it look like you kept them because they won a cup. You have to do something. So I think they kind of gave him that offer that was in the initial contract, but realistically, the money was way less than what he should be making. So I think they kind of said that, hey, if you want to stay around for this, go ahead. But if not, I think they were confident in Todd Reardon. So it didn't seem like there was a lot of bad blood per se, but I think Trotz knew what he was worth, and I think he proved all he had to prove in Washington the 3 years he was there. So moved on.
Excellent. Now let's talk about you, Nick Berry, the person.
Mm-hmm.
You played. You said roller hockey. Is that how you got started in hockey? Is roller? Or did you play ice at all, or give me your background hockey in general?
I never played ice hockey. I think I played roller hockey. There, I don't even know if it's still there, but up in Potomac on Falls Road, there used to be there's still a community center, but they used to have an outdoor rink. And there was and there was a kids league out there for a while. And I played that from when I was probably about 8 to when I was probably about 12, and I was the goalie. And I've always been a huge hockey fan. My family are huge hockey fans, so I was always the kid, kind of shooting the puck around in the basement and breaking stuff and having my dad yell at me. And then in high school is when I discovered the Germantown rink, and I sort of bought some skates and then just went out there and got back into it.
Now you mentioned Townsend. You guys from Townsend State University. Townsend State, is that correct?
Towson University now. It used to be Towson State. Yeah, no.
What did you graduate? What was your major?
I was a communications and media studies major.
Is that what you do now for a living?
I'm an IT recruiter now out in Bethesda. Okay. So I mean, not really, but kind of,
Okay. And where do you live now? You lived in the area or?
Yeah, I mean, I grew up in Germantown, Clarksburg area. I went to Clarksburg High School.
Great area.
Yeah. And then so I live over by Crown now. I live in the townhouses right outside of Crown in Gaithersburg. Gotcha. With some roommates and work in Bethesda, and that's pretty much my life. Play hockey.
Now we have the quick hitters here. These are quick hitters I always ask all our interviews to figure out your personality here. Are you an early bird or late night owl?
Late night owl for sure. Not a morning person at all.
Pepsi or Coke?
I try not to drink too much soda. I guess Coke if I'm going to drink anything. Yeah.
All right, beer, wine, or mixed drinks? I'll give you the option of all three.
Beer.
What beer do you like?
Honestly, I'm really not a beer snob. I mean, I'm fine with any light beer. I like Stella Artois. I like
That's the most
Heineken.
popular one now. Okay.
Darker beers, I do like Guinness. I like
Okay.
Guinness.
Rice or pasta?
Rice.
Rice. Okay. Wow. Okay.
Rice.
So rice. Okay. There you go. Now, in terms of playing in RHL, and also playing in MDHL, you play 2 nights a week.
Hmm.
For me, I always ask the question to players who play multiple times.
Yeah.
Does that burn you out, or is 2 nights a week perfect for you?
Physically, I don't think it doesn't really burn me out. Sometimes just like time management, it does because it's like
Okay.
I'll if I'm budgeting out stuff for the week in terms of time, or I'm trying to make plans with friends. It's always like, oh well, not Monday night or Wednesday night, because I've got hockey. But no, I don't think physically it burns me out. I look forward to it, every day. It's a good way to release stress and anxiety and all that from work every Monday and Wednesday night. So I don't think it burns me out at all. I enjoy it.
Awesome.
Sunday would. If I did Sunday too, I would.
There you go. One last question. You
Yep.
played RHL. One player that you're like, wow, great player. Someone I want to, current RHL player. Like, this is a guy that that I like his game. I want to kind of emulate my game around him. Give me a player that you're a fan of in RHL.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to say Dennis because he's on my team. That wouldn't be too fair. But I mean, just it's hard because I don't really even know a lot of their names. But a lot of the guys in D1, I think a lot of those guys on is that what she said? Is that the power? Is
Yes,
the
yes,
real powerhouse team?
yeah, Patrick, yeah.
So, some of those guys on that team, just the way they skate, the way they shoot, they look ridiculous. They're so good. Guy I play with that I really like. I like Jung. He
Yes,
just
John Lee, yeah.
yeah, the way he skates. I think we play a similar style, but I like the way he skates. He looks pretty effortless out there. When I'm skating, it looks like I have a backpack on or something. But but no, I like the way he skates. And that big dude on D1 too, I forgot his name. You
Dan
had
Riley?
him on here. Yeah, yeah.
Dan Riley, yes. From
Yeah,
Rough
I
Riders,
like
yeah,
the way he plays too. He plays tough. I've played against him a couple times. It's never fun. He's a real physical guy. So I respect that about him too.
There you go. Now you play in D2. Any aspirations? Hey Suds, I want to be in D1. I mean, are you happy with the Hurricanes? What are your goals in RHL for the future?
I mean, my goal right now, I think that if we win this league, I'd like to see maybe. I know it's hard. It's probably the hardest thing you can do, but I'd like to see us get back up into D1, at some point one day. I
Mhm.
think that if we continue with the people that we have and we keep getting better, I think that I don't necessarily think that we're going to be a powerhouse in D1, but I think we could compete, especially if we get Eddie back,
Yes, Eddie
Dennis's
comes back
brother.
late season. So yeah, if Eddie comes back and you play
Mhm.
Zimbabwe, that's a possibility. Absolutely.
And I've got a good buddy who I played with a couple times or once in the one of the tournaments. He
Mhm.
lives up north, like north of Bethesda, or sorry, north of Baltimore.
Mhm.
But he's a really good inline player. He plays in Laurel. I've been
Mhm.
trying to recruit him for a while. I think he's going to move like into the city of Baltimore soon. So if
Okay.
he does that, he said he'd join whatever team I was on. So
Okay.
yeah, his name's Alex. So I'm trying to recruit him. So always just eyeing that D1 hopefully some point.
There you go. Well, thank you for joining us, Nick Berry.
Of
Great to
course.
have you both in the RHL and also MDHL. MDHL with, let's give a little up here. Barbarians. A quick love on the
Right.
Barbarians. I'm sure Jason Maxim will probably tell me, why do you
Yeah.
want the Barbarians more? Talk about this for the Barbarians. They're a top team in the MDHL. Your thoughts about the Barbarians?
Yeah, no, I think when I joined them, I was, kind of like the definition of a depth guy, just because they
Mhm.
all knew each other so well. They were so good. Seems like they were just even in D1, they're just winning every night, like 3-1, 4-1. So it was really cool to be able to join such a good team and sort of get accustomed to MDHL. I think right now, I think we're way less, deep of a team, even in terms of just sheer numbers as opposed to the other MDHL teams. We're still competitive every night, but it's definitely not, like blowouts every night like it kind of used
It
to
used to
be.
be, right.
Yeah. But the cool thing about that is I've been playing a lot more. I've been having to play against better guys and girls a lot more. So I think my game has really improved because of that. But yeah, every season with the Barbarians, we're seeing a couple new faces, which is cool. And I think that once, like I said, once it comes to the playoffs, though, I think it
Anybody
can
can
be
win.
anybody.
Yeah,
Anybody can
absolutely.
win. That's
Yeah.
when it comes down to. And I think that we've got the players that have won a million times in MDHL on our team. So I think it's always a possibility for us.
There you go. Talk about the NBGHL Barbarians. Nick Berry, thank you for joining us.
Of
Appreciate
course.
you joining us and being involved in the podcast as well too. Folks, thank you for joining us also on this edition of Roll With It. Happy New Year to everybody watching as well. 2019 in play. We'll be back next week with another episode of Roll With It. This is Such Chan saying so long and see you next time.